Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2016 Logo Infusion InsideBowling.com Open, brought to you by the brands of Ebonite International. That is Columbia 300, Ebonite, Hammer, and Track Bowling. Also would like to thank our friends over at the Sign Garage, signgarage.net. You can check them out if you're looking for any canvas prints or anything printed whatsoever. Some good friends of mine in Ogden, Utah. They'll be able to take care of you. Nate and Elizabeth can. And also Kegel. For 6 years straight, they've been the official lane maintenance supplier here for InsideBowling.com. And without their great support, this would not be possible. This weekend, we have streamed for over 30 hours, and I want to thank my entire team for what they've done. I also would like to take a moment to let you know just how excited I am about tonight's broadcast because of the talent that we have bringing you the finals along with who we have in the field. So with no further ado, I would like to take a moment now to go ahead and throw it down to Dave Lamont and Nelson Burton Jr. to start our broadcast.
Thank you very much. Hello again, everybody, and thank you very much for joining us. Well, welcome back to St. Louis. First off, you are a sporting icon here, and we have, I'm not joking now, but we have an outstanding field of five that fought through over 250 entries and a lot of bowling to get to where we are right now. And we start with the number 5 seed, an experienced player in Rob Gotchall.
Rob Gotchall is definitely an experienced player. He's 38 years old. He bowled on Team USA. Bowls still a lot. He works for Ebonite and is familiar with the pro action and has bowled in step-ladder finals before.
Now we have his experience against the youth, but yet youthful experience of an exciting 18-year-old in Kamron Doyle.
Kamron Doyle is the best teenager I have seen since I've been watching the younger bowlers bowl. I met him at Teen Masters a few years back when he was 16 years old. He's from Brentwood, Tennessee. He's going on to Wichita State, and he's just getting better and better and better and bowled a key 250 game to qualify for the top finals tonight.
In the match play, he opened with a 256, he closed with a 256, and he's an experienced player in the 3 spot, Dave Wodka, someone you know you competed against him.
Dave Wodka has won a professional bowlers tournament. He was the 1992 Greater Detroit Open champion. He's stayed active in bowling once again. He's a field representative for Ebonite, one of our sponsors, and he is the most experienced player of all of them. There's no doubt about it. He paced himself well throughout the tournament. He never looked like he was going to run away with it, but he never got lost, and he came on strong at the end.
Out of the college ranks, out of Robert Morris, where he played on a national championship team, the 2nd seed, throws it hard, throws it loud, Matt Gasn.
Well, Matt is, we talked earlier in the announce booth, he throws one of the heaviest balls, and I mean that, when it hits the pins, it's heavy. It reminded me of Mark Roth in his heyday. You could hear his ball over and above anybody in the bowling center. Matt's that way, but the one thing I really like about Matt, he has a lot of a college experience, some experience at this level, but he's a terrific spare shooter. He will not miss any easy spares.
But in the number 1 position, you might as well call him King George III for the way he bowled the last couple of days. George Gohagen III, the left-hander, the only lefty in this 5, and he was brilliant today.
Well, George got off to a good start. He bowled just steady throughout the tournament, and today's format was we had 8 games yesterday, and then we had 16 games today to qualify, and George just gathered momentum, and when we got to the 12 games of match play, he averaged 256 or 7 the first 6 games, put away the field, and just coasted to the number 1 spot.
We expect a great final on our championship pair, 47 and 48, and the first of our classic, traditional stepladder finals will begin in just a moment after these messages.
In the summertime, we have kids camps. We also have junior adult camps that really focus on things like preparing for high school, particularly junior gold, teen masters. And then a lot of our kids go on to actually bowl for their countries like Team USA, and it's really high-level training to prepare for those events. We do one of our best camp, which is more focused on the family, which is a junior adult camp. So the kids and the parents and a lot of relatives actually sign up. We have a wide variety of different offerings.
I'm here with Rob Gotchall and Kamron Doyle. Kamron, we'll start with you because you're younger. Kamron, what's it like to make this top 5 here tonight and bowl against Rob?
Well, considering I've never made the cut at this event, and to make the top 5, it's pretty gratifying. And I'm a good friend of Rob's, and we bowl against each other a lot, so this should be a lot of fun.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Now, Rob, you guys just signed Kamron Doyle. He's a good friend of yours, and you got to bowl him in the first match. This is probably maybe a little bittersweet. Are you going to take it easy on the youngster?
Nah, we're both here to bowl, for the title, and one of us hopefully can make it all the way up the step ladder. But friends aside, we're here to bowl, and it should be a good match.
Well, good luck to you, Rob. You've been here before.
Thank you.
Looking forward to a great match.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Mike will be laneside, by the way, and if he sees anything that needs to come to our attention, we will keep an eye on that. And let's go through what they're playing for here, Bo, and that's not a bad first prize for a weekend's worth of work. No,
it's been a great tournament. $10,000 first, $1,500 for fifth, and 51st spot paid over $500. So, for a non-PBA tournament, and yet anybody was eligible for this. You could be a PBA member. You could be a high school guy. In fact, Kamron Doyle is still in high school in Tennessee. It's a great stepping stone and a really good, solid tournament. It's been run first class. Mike Flanagan has paid his dues with this tournament, learned how to do it, have a very competitive lane condition, which is I really like that, Dave. I don't like it's very difficult, even for you and I as announcers, when one guy's got 8 in a row and the other guy can't find the line.
Yeah.
And so I expect close matches today, and it's a guy who can perform in the 9th and 10th frames are going to be pretty sharp. And here's the lane condition. It was 46 feet of oil. It's tapered a little bit to the center. You'll find the players playing somewhere around the second arrow. They're somewhat of power players, but they don't super crank it. And our left-hander, George Gohagen, who is leading the tournament, Gohagen is playing outside the first arrow. So I don't see anything where they'd have to get into the 4th arrow like we saw in the qualifying.
All right, let's get to it here. Let's get our match. Kamron Doyle is the 4th seed, has his choice of lane, and he will start on 47, the left of this pair. We're on the far right end of the house. It's a split house here, Tropicana Lanes in St. Louis, a house with a lot of history in this area. One of the proprietors is the great Ray Bluth, who is a competitor, one of the finest bowlers of all time. And
he's in the building.
Yes, he is, and delighted to see him. And he is also a St. Louis sporting icon, as is Nelson Burton Jr. So our first shot of the finals belongs to the 18-year-old. And no pressure, no problem at all for Kamron Doyle, and he will get worked up. We saw that as he got closer to that position round, and he was fighting for that to get on the show, but that's a smooth start.
Yeah, he's well experienced beyond his years, and he shows a little bit of confidence, and not more than a little bit. He bowled a key big 250 his last game to get in the top 5, and just by having the choice of finishing last shows he believes he has the confidence to throw a strike if he needs it. Now, Rob Gotchall on the right-hand lane.
Member of Team USA.
Right-hand lane.
And he's solid. So an excellent start for both. Rob, both these guys, Team USA. Kamron on adult Team USA, Rob on Team USA.
Rob, 38 years old, 20 years older than Kamron, but he's feeling the pressure. You can almost see it, Dave. You've done this a long time when a guy's just breathing a little different. I was down there 10 minutes ago watching them throw warm-up shadow balls, and there was a different look on their face, and that's what competition's all about. And really, in a one-game match, this is such a sprint. They bowled 2 games, 2 days, a long tournament where they bowled 24 games. That's more like a marathon. Right now, you got to be a sprinter, so it's important for Rob to get off to an early lead or at least put pressure on Kamron Doyle.
And it breaks up that 7-10. We've seen a lot of those in this house, too. And we've seen many more of them broken up. Fortunately for the players, Rob is able to do that. So he'll have a highly convertible 7-pin. He qualified 3rd in the top 12. He was 4th. And a big win by Kamron Doyle in the position round put Kamron from 6th into 4th and put Rob in the number 5 position.
And being 4th or 5th is really no advantage or disadvantage. And there's one of the reasons the pin action is so lively here. You have a really good tight back ends, what they call tight back ends. The pin decks are screwed down really tight. The sideboards are really tight in the flat gutters, as you call it, and that's the area as you enter the pit, are up to maximum height. There's a regulation on how deep they must be and how high they can be. They got them almost to the maximum length here, Dave, and that causes pins to bounce out real well, and obviously better pin action.
So Doyle off a strike in the first. He'll be headed, as Nelson mentioned earlier, to Wichita State. So the rich get richer in college bowling.
Well, it's a great program.
Oh, no question. It's the flagship program, although the folks at Weber International would probably argue that point a little bit. That's going to slide wide right in the first mistake of the match very early on. That's an ugly leave.
That was just the 2-4-8-10. We saw it made earlier, Dave, and you called it, where you have to really hook the ball into the 2-pin and have the ball hit the left side of the 4-pin. The 4 has to bounce into the 8 and then over to the 10. Now, in a one-game match, do you go for it early? I don't know. It's his choice. Does he think he's a low percentage shot? I'll say it's 13-1 just to grab a number. But to get the pin count is pretty important. And that's what it looks like he's going for. I would have done the same thing.
He made that earlier. If I remember, he made that earlier today, and he was able to get the 4, I think, was the one that took out the 10-pin. But in this case, he played it conservatively. And he seems to me to be, in bowling, wise above his years.
No doubt. And he really knew how to perform under the pressure. He made the moves all week long. I mean, you can see the players are playing. It's on fresh oil. They just been oiled an hour ago. They're playing around the 2nd arrow, and they played as deep as the 5th arrow during the tournament. So they played all the lines to get where they are.
And a ringer. Unfortunate break, as you see right off to the left. That's the trophy that will be handed out today by Randy Schickert, the CEO of Ebonite International, who's here. And, of course, as Mike mentioned at the top, one of our prime sponsors.
Kamron, a very good spare shooter, opts for the hard and straight, which is most players do. And something that he's doing right here, which I really like. I know that there's schools of thought of it, but he's using his strike ball or first ball for his spare for 2 reasons. One, it feels really good on his hand. He's comfortable with it, and he knows how to throw a straight shot. So no problem for him making spares. I like that as a technique, although some coaches may argue with me.
Kamron Doyle, actually, and you had the chance in this tournament to rebuy your way in if you weren't satisfied. So Kamron bowled in 3 squads, and it's his D squad, which was the Saturday night squad, that led him into the top 32. He qualified in 17th.
All right, Rob Gotchall up on the right-hand lane. He's clean through 2 frames, and he has a 12-pin lead in the early going. Spreads both his fingers, both his ring finger, his index finger, and his baby finger, and it helps you get around the ball more when you spread them wide.
And he takes all 10 down. That 10-pin went down unlike it did for Doyle.
Setting up the championship pair, as everybody knows, that there's characteristics to a bowling lane, no different than a green in golf or whatnot. And historically in this bowling center, and I've bowled here since 1958 or 9 when it was built, Dave, the left-hand lanes, where Rob is up there on 947, seem to be a little tighter or slicker or hook less, whatever you want to use the word, than the right-hand lanes. And that being said, the reason of that is when they resurfaced old wood lanes, they'd cut the left-hand lane first with fresh sandpaper, and they'd come back down the right-hand lane with the used sandpaper, and they wouldn't cut it as much, and that old characteristic eventually comes through.
That noise will tell you it's a double. So Gotchall putting some early pressure on the teenager, who told us that he'll be back in school tomorrow. He thinks he'll get home to Tennessee about 3 in the morning.
Kamron's lost the ball on the downswing slightly as we started here. He was lifting the ball over the line, which every player should lift it over the line. You never want to dump it in the lane like a plane crashing. So let's see if he gets it out over the line.
Now another ringer. He's had 2 solid shots and just not getting the result that maybe he deserves.
You know, the test by the USBC was very interesting, and I don't recall the total thing about it, but they measured from 0-degree angle in the pocket to 6-degree angle in the pocket, and there's one real small zone there at 3.5 to 4 degrees where if the ball hits right there, you're going to leave a solid 10, and there's nothing that Kamron can do about it except just keep going to the well and hopefully he draws a little bit of water.
And not to make any mistakes. So these single pin can really kill your game. He smothers that one very comfortably. We will have a new champion. This is the 6th event. We have never had a repeat champion of the InsideBowling.com Open. And this is the Logo Infusion InsideBowling.com Open. Kyle Troop was the winner last year. He was not here this year. Matt McNeil won in 2014, and he made the final 32, but did not make the top 12. Bill O'Neill, Danny Spink, who was here, and Jake Peters. He was the inaugural winner in 2011.
Pretty good players there, and you mentioned Bill O'Neill is ranked in the top 5 in the world, so we get a strong field.
How's that? 3 ringers in a row for Kamron Doyle.
The best explanation I can give, and it's only from my past bowling experience, and it's not that I've proven it through a test tube, is after you bowl for a little while on a pair of lanes, we all know that the oil gets pushed down a little bit, and the ball hydroplanes just a pinch as it's going into the pocket. In my opinion, it's a bad break still to leave a solid 10, as all of those could have been strikes. So far, the luck has been against him, but, you know, there's a lot of match to play right now. He's only trailing by 24 pins.
And he just takes care of business, keeps marching on, knowing that he can't give away a frame with a critical error. And this is the funny thing with Kamron. This is his 3rd appearance here, the first time he's ever made the cut. In fact, when we asked that question, we were sitting around with all the bowlers afterwards, and they started laughing at him a little bit. Like, hey, we know how he's done here as Mr. Sports Announcer. He hasn't done anything, but he has done more than that. He's going to make a nice little paycheck to take back to high school. Rob Gotchall has been in this tournament a few years also, and actually made the top 5.
Made the championship run.
In 2013.
Took a re-rack here in the 5th frame, and that wasn't to psych out his opponent. That right-hand lane, historically, every once in a while, racks the 3-pin a little tight. In a situation like this, you want to take one of your 2 available re-racks.
That went through the nose, and he broke up disaster there.
When I watch Rob, he always he doesn't bowl full-time anymore, and he's had a lot of experience, Team USA, but he's an executive over at Ebonite, and if there's one thing he does that gets him in a little bit of trouble, and he did that time, is he doesn't push the ball away down the target line. You could see it from our back shot. Every once in a while he pushes the ball to the right, the swing goes behind his back, then he pulls it through, and that's what happened on that shot. Where Kamron Doyle, we'll watch him when he comes up next time. We can watch it for Rob here. A good camera angle behind him. He's trying to play like the 14th board at the set-down area to about the 10th or 11th at the arrows. Let's see if he pushes the ball, and this is important for everybody. Push the ball down the target line so your swing drops right in the slot. Let's watch for it here.
Nothing wrong there. That is 10 straight back for Rob Gotchall. He remains clean through the first 6 frames with 4 strikes. And throws it right back at Kamron Doyle, who struck on his opening shot and has not since. Of course, he could have on 3 of those because he left 3 ringing 9s in a row.
23 pins behind, but he's not lost, and so he really doesn't panic. You know, if you're 23 pins behind, you've been on the Brooklyn, you hit the nose, you miss the head pin, then you got a big problem. Kamron Doyle is getting experience. He's not the most experienced player at 18, but he just has to keep going to the pocket.
And he does that time. Well, Kamron Doyle has had experience fighting, hand fighting some of the best players in the world. He has qualified at U.S. Opens. He won a PBA regional when he was 16 years old. He was a great bowler when he was 12. He was competing against top players in regional events. So it's amazing the experience he has at 18. I cannot imagine too many more 18-year-old male or female bowlers who have this background.
He's the best I've seen. I've seen him when he bowled in Teen Masters down in Florida, down there at the Don Carter Lanes and right near you, and he was a dominant player then, and he can cut the lead down to 13 pins with a strike right here in the 7th.
And he does it. That 4-pin paid the price, getting shot all the way across the wood there. So Rob Gotchall took a little deep breath there as Doyle walked by.
Gotchall knows that this match is not over. He knows how good Kamron Doyle is. He doesn't doubt his own ability, but Kamron Doyle, he could strike forever here. He's in top shape. That's what he does for a living, even though he's a high school kid. But bowling is his thing right now, and he's bowling hundreds of games every month, and he's razor sharp. He probably will not make a mistake, which mentally that affects Rob, and so it behooves Rob to get another strike here.
Like that. So Gotchall handling everything the youngster is throwing at him and sending it right back at him.
Gotchall was spotty, as you and I saw during the match play, Dave. He got real hot last night in the qualifier, and when scores were coming in when they were low, Gotchall 250, Gotchall 240, Gotchall 260. So he's a streak player. He bowls good all the time, but he takes advantage of it when he's really going good.
Standing by to face the winner of this is Dave Wodka, and he is with Mike Flanagan. Mike?
Hey, thanks, guys. I'm here with Dave. Dave, looks like the lanes are a little bit tight here tonight. They're tough like always. Do you think you're going to have what it takes here to take down the winner of this match?
Yeah, I think so. I'm just going to go out and make one good shot at a time. I've used the same game plan I used all weekend so far and just try to make good shots.
I know you've been working with a coach. You got a lot of confidence. I think this guy right here has a chance to win the whole thing. Good luck, Dave.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, thank you, guys. I think this booth agrees completely that Dave has an excellent chance based on his experience, his track record as a PBA player. Without question, he is a dangerous 3 seed.
In this field of 250 players, by and large, Dave, you and I know the cream has risen to the top, and that's what we have here at the top 5. Right now, going the 8th frame, Rob Gotchall has a 23-pin lead, a double working.
He didn't like it. The facial expression said one thing. The ball said the other. The first look I got from his face was like, uh-oh.
If you're Kamron Doyle and you're sitting on the approach, you know when he struck in the 8th frame that really puts the pressure on you, because right now Rob Gotchall, if he doesn't get another double but stays clean, is going to be in the 220s. If Kamron Doyle misses in any one of the next 3 frames, the most he can get is the 2 teens. So he's in almost a must-strike situation unless Gotchall opens.
Didn't do it. In fact, that's a tough one right there. That is going to put him in a particularly nasty hole. A 3, 4, 6, 7.
I watched him bowl for almost a half hour warming up, and this is experience. And I will tell you, my first sudden death TV finals, Dave, I finished with 4 in a row for 160. If I had opened in the 10th, somebody reminded me I had 128. So this is part of the learning process of Kamron Doyle. He's going to be around for a long time. Nice kid, really knows how to bowl. Unfortunately, he's not going to get by his one of his fellow competitors and Ebonite staff members, Rob Gotchall.
Well, we mentioned Ebonite's family of brands are makers of the Columbia 300 Ebonite hammer, because nothing hits like a hammer, and Track bowling ball brands. Hashtag Team EBI produces the largest selection of high-performance bowling products in the industry, and you can find a demo day near you by going to ebibowling.com. I mentioned Rob is here. He works in advanced marketing and promotions, and, of course, the CEO, Randy Schickert, will be handing out a little hardware when this is over with.
Kamron Doyle striking the 9th. Best he can shoot is 198, barring a foul or hitting your ankle or some thing that occasionally happens once every 10 years on a TV show. Rob Gotchall is going to be our winner of our first match. It's a step ladder finals. He'll meet the number 3 player who we really like. I mean, he looks strong all the way through, and so Dave Wodka is going to be a tough guy to beat. But, you know, a guy who wins the first match, he has an edge going to the next one. Don't you agree, Dave?
I do, because it builds your confidence, and you understand how the shot is breaking down for you. And now the interesting thing here is, though, that Rob and Dave have very similar games, don't you think?
Yes, they do, and they're using similar equipment. I think they're both using Ebonite balls, so it'll be a tough match. As much experience as Dave Wodka has, he's going to have his hands full. He needs to get through the first couple of frames of this next match without having Rob Gotchall run over him. So we'll see. As far as the scoring goes, right now Gotchall can take it off the sheet here for a fabulous 259 to start off. We didn't see scores like this hardly at all during the tournament, so take advantage of it and enjoy it.
Well, he's on his way to that 259. You notice the signs you see there every time we flash right there. They're from the Sign Garage in Ogden, Utah. They provide screen printing, canvas prints, vehicle wraps, and signs of any kind. And all of the signs and banners are courtesy of the Sign Garage and signgarage.net if you'd like to order your prints today. And all of the sponsors, and we'll mention them from time to time, who make this possible.
Okay, 11th frame or second ball in the 10th, whichever you like. Possible 259 for Rob Gotchall. Pushes it away straight down the line. It's going to be a little wide.
Well, he could let one go there. I think he'll be okay with that.
Shows you how well he did bowl. I mean, there he leaked one ball even though he was relaxed. He leaked it aboard and pays a penalty. He got the 2-4-10. Might as well go for it here just for the fun of it. He just aim it to the left and try to knock off the 4-pin. Good game for Rob. He shoots 244 and, or to say 254, 245.
245, yeah.
Right.
And there you go. That's the Logo Infusion InsideBowling.com Championship Trophy. And I don't know, a lot of bowlers are driving around, but if you're trying to fly home with that, good luck getting that through past those rascals at TSA.
Well, Kamron Doyle, he just looked like he didn't get into it. And, you know, we noticed a couple of times in the tournament, he's a hard guy to read, Dave. You brought that up, and that. Well, we saw him when he had a chance to win. He grabbed the bull by the horns and shot really a big game to get here. He should be proud of his finish, a top 5. A nice check to spend in his high school prom.
Yeah, $1,500, and it is prom season, so he doesn't even have to rent a tux now, or he could get a really sweet limo for a couple of hours. And so, yes, absolutely. If he's got prom plans, if I were his prom date, I would be texting him as soon as he bowls out here going, the price is going up, buddy. I'm expecting a really fancy evening.
We had good crowds here for most of the bowling. The bowling lasted probably 12, 13 hours every day, and had some good solid crowds and very knowledgeable people watching the tournament as Kamron Doyle finishes with 178.
Well done for Kamron. I think a lot of bowling fans are very aware of him already, and if this is the first time you've seen him, that 178 doesn't really represent that talent, but there is a ton of it. And remember, he's 18 years old. He'll be in a high school classroom tomorrow morning, so which is also hard to believe. I give him bonus points for being that dedicated. My kids would be trying to get out of going to school.
I'm a big fan, actually. After just a few throws, it makes up for a lot of little mistakes. There's a larger margin of error for that ball than the other track balls that I've thrown.
Paradox. I've thrown it a couple of times now, and it's a good two arrows left of where I was throwing some of the other stuff. One of the more continuous balls I've seen so far.
I'm a straight player. Bite balls do not hook. That one hooks for me, and I really like it.
Just through the Paradox, new Paradox, great ball. Super strong on the back end. Oily conditions, it'll be awesome. Without a doubt, we will sell lots of those.
I think it's a great ball. It hooks a lot. It's definitely a step in the right direction for track, in my opinion. I feel like it strikes from anywhere right now.
Paradox is actually a very forgiving ball. I mean, it reads up a little bit on the front end a little early, but it still gives you enough skid if you tend to miss slightly. It goes a little bit longer and recovers very smooth.
The ball is absolutely unbelievable. I've never seen a ball hook this much and continue this hard. I can throw it on a lot of friction to just get it around the corner, or I can throw it on as much oil as I want, and it just continues and just keeps hitting harder and harder.
Time for Dave Wodka against Rob Gotchall. This is match 2 of the 2016 Logo Infusion InsideBowling.com Open, brought to you by Ebonite International. And we're ready to roll here with Rob on the left.
Yeah, guys, I'm down here on the lane. Just want to let you know they're waiting for a scoring issue here to get the scores cleared, so that's why there's a little bit of a delay here. It looks like Rob is going to be sticking with the same ball in this match that he used in the first match from what I can see, and now they're ready to go.
And what ball was he using?
He's using a track Paradox. He's used it almost a majority of the entire tournament.
Hey, Mike Flanagan, that was the voice of Mike Flanagan. Well, as he bowled the first game, if he changed balls after shooting the 240 game, I'd have to take the straitjacket off of him and see what's wrong.
Or put it on him.
Or put it on. Okay, Dave. All right, let's see how he starts the second match. He should be loose and ready to go.
Oh, and right as you say that, something caused him to start over. Don't know what that was.
Looked like a thumb hole issue. He grabbed probably the wrong ball. He has two balls the same color, and I have seen that happen before. I did that one time bowling Pete Weber in Cleveland, and the ball never came off my hand. I tried to throw it.
Oh, my God.
That was a disaster. So he reset himself, and here we go. First ball, second match.
Yeah, a solid 4-pin to open things up for Rob Gotchall.
And as we can see, after one game, the balls are finishing just a little bit more. And for all you bowlers at home, regardless of what your average is, be aware that lanes change. There is oil or lane conditioner on lanes, and it wears off at different rates. Pros wear it off a little bit faster than amateurs. It's up to Bob Gotchall to make the slight adjustment to keep the ball in the pocket.
Attacking that spare, and he'll make it. Rob had a 6-6 match play record. Dave Wodka had an 8-4 match play record. He opened with a 256 on 39 and 40, and closed with a 256 on 39 and 40 to help secure his spot. He qualified 4th. He was 10th in the top 12, and of course here he is in the number 3 position in the stepladder round. Really
a classic style. He really stays within himself. He's got a lot of experience, and.
Nope, message not answered.
But that's not a bad first shot. I don't care how many years you've done it, how many times you've done it, unless you won the tournament last week, you're not loose and relaxed. You still have a little bit of apprehension. And to me, it always took me 2 or 3 frames to settle down. I hoped I didn't make too many mistakes in that time or my opponent run over me. And right now, neither one has happened to Dave Wodka.
His high game in this tournament was 267. He averaged 222. And a solid spare shooter as well as Dave.
I've got a little tidbit for you guys as well. Both players using the same ball, the Track Paradox, and at this event they had the opportunity, all the athletes that took part had the chance to get an Ebonite International product, and by far the Paradox was the #1 ball chosen by the players in this field.
I want to know about the meetings where they name bowling balls. I am absolutely fascinated by the names of bowling balls they have come up with. It's just amazing to me.
I think it was over some libations where they come up with some of these
It's possible. Names. That could be a post-business day gathering where they sit around and dream these up, because they're hilarious. Some of them are, anyway. Some of them are very business-like, like Track Paradox to me is a very business-like name, but there are some others that make me chuckle.
Okay, once again, remind the folks this is Game 2 of our stepladder finals to determine a winner of the 2016 InsideBowling.com tournament. $10,000 first at stake. Once again, the championship pair, 47 and 48 here at Tropicana Lanes in a suburb of St. Louis, Clayton, Missouri. And to tell you about the pair, the right-hand lane hooks about a board more than the left.
And Rob Gotchall with a strike. So these two lads even up early on. Standing by in the number 2 position in our stepladder finals is Matt Gasn.
You got to want to watch him bowl. I talk about the heavy ball. A big, strong guy like you are, Dave, but he stays underneath the ball and uses that physical strength and right through his hand. And all of these players throw pretty powerful balls, but Matt's ball really, really hits heavy. It's the first time I've ever seen him bowl, and he bowled with a lot of confidence. So he's standing by watching the match, but these two guys don't worry about him right now. It's even through 2 frames, both players working on a strike.
That came through the face just a little bit on Rob.
Now here's what happened to Rob on that one. He went high and left a 4-pin in the first frame, so he moved his feet a board left, and what happened, he got to the drier area a little quicker. He was hoping that moving left would compensate for going high, but he hit the drier area quicker. So now what you have to do as a pro bowler is move your eyes slightly left, not right, slightly left, and get it into the little heavier oil. Now he's also got a very difficult spare here in the 3-6-9-10.
Can he get that sleeper back there? He covers it beautifully.
Good technique. Here's another lesson to be learned here. When you have the 3-6-9-10, basically the key pin is a 9-pin, and you got to shoot it down the right side to get enough angle to make sure you take out the 9. You can shoot it from the left with speed. You catch the 3-6-10, but the 9 remains standing. So a slight opening for Dave Wodka. He can take the lead here with a double in the 3rd frame.
That's swinging wide right, and we'll leave him a 3 to play with. He'll have a 2-4-8 back there. Dave won the 1999 Greater Detroit Open, 19 PBA regional titles in his career. And in the Scorpion Open during the World Series of Bowling in 11 and 12, he was 3rd and 5th in the extra frame Detroit Open. So he's good in the D.
Well, Dave's bowled on the tour most of his career and worked within the industry, and that has made his chosen career. He's with a great company, Ebonite, and he still bowls very representative and shows a profit. So he should keep bowling out there, and he'll win again. I mean, Dave's a nice, solid player.
Look out here, though. Got it. Hooked in just at the last second. Just kind of shook his head. Well, the one thing we noticed after watching Dave bowl for 2 days is that when he's unhappy, he's more expressive than when he is happy. And so he wasn't totally satisfied with that spare, but he got it.
As we've watched a game and a half from 3 players so far, we can see that the left-hand lane that doesn't hook quite as much seems to be the favorable lane for all the players so far. So Dave Wodka up on the easy lane, so to speak, and can make it the match is even, and he's up in the 4th with a spare working.
And, oh, I can't believe that didn't strike. He didn't miss it by much, that's for sure.
Well, 2 players using aggressive balls. You said that they're using the same ball, Dave, and they're sucking up the oil. Today's modern ball actually draws the oil up into the pores of the ball, where the balls that I learned to bowl with, the rubber ball or the plastic ball, they don't absorb the oil. They push it down the lane, and the lane actually gets slicker. So it's a little different game for sure.
So no mistakes for Dave, and he drives that wood all the way into the channel, so they'll have to move that out of the way. We'll get somebody down there. Maybe Mike Flanagan will get down there and do it.
You know, a quick ruling you don't hear much about. But
My God, he is going to go down there and do it. I was kidding.
If a player rolls a ball, and there's dead wood as that is, and his ball either impacts that dead wood or another pin from the rack hits that dead wood, folks at home have to know that's the same as a foul. You get 0 for that shot. I see that more often in leagues, and I still bowl league with my sons. I see that more often. People shoot a rack where the pin's laying in the channel. Some other pin will hit it, and then somebody will call it on them and tell them, hey, you got 0 for that shot. And let's face it, it doesn't make the guy a happy camper.
No,
but
no.
You got to know the rules.
Right back to a strike there for Gotchall. So he's got that lane figured out, at least early on. He struck on it twice. It's this other lane here, the left lane, that's good. He has missed on, leaving a 9 and then leaving 4 back on the 3rd frame.
And he's taking a re-rack for the very reason we just talked about. That pin, they didn't throw it all the way back into what we call the pit area. It was laying in the channel, and obviously he wanted to get it out of the way to avoid the penalty of a 0, basically a foul. So through 4 frames, we have Rob Gotchall up by 1, working on a strike, can make it 11 here on the left-hand lane.
$10,000 to the winner of the Logo Infusion InsideBowling.com Open, presented by Ebonite International. The beautiful shirts that you saw us wearing tonight, and you see Mike Flanagan wearing from Logo Infusion, and feature all of our sponsors on there. Good looking ball all the way 10 straight back.
Good move there by Rob. Instead of moving farther left on the lane, increase the ball speed to make it hold line. It was a very subtle move, but he's right there, right on top of that pair right now. And it behooves the PBA champion Dave Wodka to start getting tuned in, because Gotchall might not miss.
And Dave had to scramble in that round of 32 to make the top 12. He rolled a 245 to elbow his way past a few folks to qualify 10th.
Little housekeeping note, the re-rack that Gotchall took is not going to be charged to him. I did not clear the deadwood completely out of the channel.
All right, thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. So Rob's got another one, and there's a ringing 10 and almost a 7-10. That was broken up.
Pin action is fabulous here, and part of it is obviously the players have a lot of power using quality bowling balls. But what makes really good pin action, once the ball gets there with the energy still stored from a nice smooth surface, is a nice, what we call a tight back end. A pin deck is the last 4 feet of the lane, and if it's screwed down really tight, the pins bounce around more than if it's loose.
So both players clean, but Gotchall working on a double here through 5. Whereas Dave has only struck once, and he'll go back to the lane that he did strike on. That was on the left lane.
Wodka got here by bowling some fabulously big scores, Dave. We noticed that he wasn't as consistent as the other 4 players that we had in the championship round. He averaged 222 for his 24 games, but he had streaks of 250, 250, 260, 240, and then he would drop down into 180s and 190s where he ends up balancing out to 222. So right now he's just on a 198 pace, and he's got to pick up the action or Rob Gotchall will run over him. 6th frame, he trails by 12 pins.
Wait a minute. Yes, sir. There's the messenger that he deserves. Didn't deserve a ringing 10 with a solid shot like that, and that's a big strike for Dave. So Rob Gotchall working a double. And just to finish off with Logo Infusion here, I want to remind you that this weekend you can save 20% from now until the end of April if you use Logo 20 on your coupon code. Head over to logoinfusion.com. Brandon Allred will be here. He's part of the trophy ceremony as well, representing Logo Infusion. And Ken Keegan and his staff have supported this event religiously, and we're very grateful for that.
You look at the grip of Rob Gotchall. He uses a stretched semi-fingertip grip, so he gets in a little bit past the first knuckle.
And he gives the pins a knuckle sandwich is what he did, and that's a triple for Rob, and he's taking a little bit of command in this match now.
Boy, the pin carry is fabulous at Tropicana lanes when you can get it going. He flipped out the 10-pin on a shot that I thought would be what we like to call the soft 10 or the half 10, and then also we saw Dave Wodka with a messenger come over and whack out the solid 10. So when you get a couple of extra pins going down there, you got a good potential to score if you can hit the pocket. He leads by 22, can extend that lead to 32, has a triple working 7th frame.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. A 4-bagger for Gotchall.
What the folks at home can't see, and is what Gotchall did, is instead of keeping moving left to make it from the hook, and he just increased his ball speed about a mile an hour, and that's one of the important moves you have to get to the upper level of bowling. You got to be able to vary your speed and still release the ball the same. The really top players can have a ball speed variance or a range, let's say, of 8 or 9 miles an hour and still be effective without changing their swing. Now you see Dave tucking that pinky finger, much like Marshall Holman did, and that just tightens your grip on the ball so that you can lift it out over the line.
Oh, no, that's a hose job right there. That's an awful, awful break for what looked like a really solid shot. So he's had a few ringers and bad breaks, and that one will cause you to question your love of the game.
The solid 8, you can't tell what happens, except I know from our slow motion cameras at ABC, the head pin on a really solid hit hits the 2-pin. The 2-pin comes back and nicks the ball and the 5-pin just as it's passing through the center of the lane, and the 5 chops straight back off the 8. So solid 8 is definitely one of the taps of bowling.
Well, you mentioned Marshall Holman. He had told me he thinks one of the reasons we're seeing more 8 and 9 leaves, solid 8, solid 9, is the technology, is the equipment.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, today's modern bowling ball is made by, as we see here, these fellows are both using ebonite-type products. They have a bigger weight block, and that's what's in the center of a bowling ball, and it just increases the inertia as the ball enters the pocket, and then they use a high reactive resin to make the ball bite at just the right place so it skids in the oil and then flips hard on the back end. Now here's Wodka trying to recover from the bad break, 8th frame. He needs to get it going. Best he can shoot is 228. Rob Gotchall going at a 230 pace. So it's up for grabs, but he's got to start striking.
And another ringer. And let's head over where Mike Flanagan is standing by with the man who is going to face the winner of this match. Here's Matt Gasn with Mike.
Hey, thanks, Dave. Here with Matt Gasn. Matt, you've always wanted to make the finals in this event. You finally did. What's going to be the key to you being able to take down whoever wins this match?
The key is definitely going to be keeping my feet slow and using my legs properly. That's been the key the entire day, and get my ball to read the lane properly. They're very, very tight down the lane, so got to focus on doing that. I
think he's got a good game plan and has a chance to run the whole ladder, guys.
I don't think there's any question, and the good news for him is he doesn't have many steps to run. And number two, you've got 2 matches you have to worry about, and he will perhaps be facing Rob Gotchall. We'll see. Dave just not getting very many good breaks. And I don't know. It's happened to him before. It's not like he's never had games where he's rolled well and not gotten strikes. And that look says it all right there. I'm sure he's thinking to himself, I'm not sure what else I can do.
Yep. Gotchall up there can put the match away with another strike here. And then I'm going to buy into the scoreboard after he throws it and show you how close this match really could be if Wodka had gotten any breaks at all.
Yeah, well, now hold on just a second. One of the trickier leaves you can see there, and I'm not sure what he said, and it may not be printable anyway.
I call that the paralyzer, Dave. Here's what happened. It's very rare for a power ball to leave a 5-10 or even a 5-7. The head pin went to the sideboard so quickly that it hit the ball and the 5 pin at the exact same time, deflected the ball to the right of the 5 pin, and it kind of twitched around, and I say it was paralyzed. The pin tried to knock it over to the left. The ball straightened it up to the right, and so here he has a very difficult and somewhat unusual spare to shoot at. Me, I would just go for 9 and keep the count right even. So let's see what he does.
He's going after it. He did the same thing. Maybe he was even dreaming of it banging off the back wall, but that would have been very difficult. So an open, the first one in the match for Rob, and opens the door and gives Dave a little bit of light.
Well, the light is this. Dave can shoot 217 if he strikes out. Rob is going at 216 pace. So Rob doesn't throw another double here in the last 2 frames. He can't win the match. Dave can take it off the sheet for 217, and as we've seen, a lot of these matches, for some reason or another, and I think it's the lane condition, the quality of the bowler, has gone down to the 10th frame.
Gotchall has already defeated Kamron Doyle. Oh, and he almost had another one there, the 4-9, but instead the 9 pin is left.
2 pin goes to the sideboard, twists off the 4 pin, and knocks it over. He could have gotten a break and had the 4 pin fall directly into the 9, but better than not having a strike is an easy spare. So once again, this match is going to come down to the last 2 frames. It looked like it was all over as we stepped up in the 8th frame, but the door has opened for Dave Wodka. Now he has to just step in with some strikes.
On it is Gotchall, as you expected he would be. So his foundation is going to be a spare, but here's Dave. And I'm sure he's done all the calculations already of what has to happen. You're not going to slip a fastball by him. He knows what to do. Can he do it?
Well, he's gone strike, in the pocket, 10-pin strike. He had 1 high shot. He left a 3-6, 10. Then he's been 10-pin strike, 10-pin, solid 8. So he's been in the pocket. He actually could be in the lead in the match. As of right now, he trails by 19 pins, but can still win the match. 9th frame foundation.
He has not struck on this lane in this match. And he still hasn't. And that's the second time he's had a 7-10 broken up at the last second. This time it's the 7 that stays upright.
You know, there is a luck factor in any sports, and right now Dave Wodka is on the downside of the luck factor. He could actually have 8 strikes this game and 1 spare in the 3rd frame and have the match locked up. But right now he's going to need to make the spare, strike out, and need some help from Rob Gotchall, because Rob will only need a spare to win the match, even if Dave strikes out. So here we go. Dave going at 196 pace. Makes a score. Now he can strike out for 206. Gotchall going at a 216 pace. He would force him to mark.
And Dave's got to sort of get himself right there. I think the breaks are starting to get to him just a little bit. What's the line from the Gipper movie, The Break's Going Against the Boys?
That's it.
And that's what's happening right now to Dave.
There's also an old saying, Dave, that I like in match play, especially in bowling. You got to make the other player show up. So if he throws 3 strikes or 2 strikes at a 9 count, he makes Rob Gotchall show up. It's not a freebie. He's got to get a mark. And marks are not a guarantee at any point. So this is an important shot. He needs this to have any chance right now.
Again, and if ever there was a shot that just demonstrated what Dave Wodka's game was like, it's that one right there. Looked good all the way, ringing 10. That's what, 5 of those in this match?
This is one of the most unfortunate or unlucky games I have ever seen in a championship round. He's handled it very well. Our good friend Marshall Holman, who I've bowled a lot with, you see that ball return cover right there?
Yeah.
That wouldn't be in the screen anymore. It'd be over on lane 49 or 50.
I should have told him to watch. I could have texted him. I've worked with him a couple of times. Great guy. And yeah, I don't know how, or else he would have grabbed the trophy and just rolled that down the lanes. Either of those two would have probably been a likely outcome for Marshall. But looks good for Rob Gotchall to move on against another youngster. So he has defeated all age spectrums. He's had a player younger than him, a player a little older than him, and now he's going back to take on a player younger than him in Matt Gasn. Well, there you go. Finally, salud, Don Corleone.
Now, there's 2 things Gotchall can do here. He's got the match locked up. He's going to stay with the same ball, which I always buy, to stay with the same ball as long as you can. But he can experiment with maybe moving a little deeper and hooking it a little more, see if there's some hold spot. Maybe try lofting it or throwing it harder. But when you get a free shot like this, you got to take advantage of it.
So Dave Wodka will finish in 4th place.
He moved a little deeper, and he got a nice hold and a nice reaction. And that was only a board. You know, folks, when I say they move deeper left or right, there's a bowling lane is 42 inches wide, and there's actually a picture when you look at synthetic lanes. That's a picture of a wood lane on the synthetic lanes. But there's 39.5 boards, as once before I said. The boards are 1 inch and 5 6/4 wide. And when I say move to a different zone or different area, I'm only talking moving a 1/2 inch, not by a whole arrow. So he tried one way inside. You see that, Dave?
He's playing around a little bit now, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Yeah. Very, very smart. And, you know, with all the competition around in the last 20 years in the college, as you said, and all that, players never thought of that in my day. They just kept striking and striking and see how much they could shoot. And they kind of wish that they had checked a different spot on the lane. So that was a luxury to have that. He took advantage of it, a very smart move.
Also, Bo and Dave, just to interrupt down here, that was actually a ball change, balling up to a Columbia 300 raw urge. It's a more aggressive bowling ball, and that's what Rob was trying to test by moving in with that ball.
So the interesting thing, Mike, keep an eye on that is where we start this match. We're coming up in a few minutes when he takes on Matt Gasn, who steps into your picture right there. What will Rob use? I know what you want him to do. You want him to go back to the track paradox.
There's no doubt about it. It's hard for me, and it really should be hard for him, and I think that anybody who's bowled long enough, and I have definitely on the tour, you got to go with what you know is comfortable. He's getting out of the thumb hole clean. He knows how predictable it is. He knows if he leaves a 4-pin or goes a little high, just a little high, he can throw harder or loft a little bit, not even move. He doesn't know with the other ball, Dave, if something goes wrong, what to do, and he could end up outsmarting himself. So I say start with it. But once again, I'm sitting up here, and he's down there bowling. So let's see what happens. He's got a tough match coming up here with Matt. I think Matt is kind of the secret guy out there. He's kind of a low-profile guy. He's a big, strong guy like you, but he just kind of was sneaking along with all the match play that we covered in 12 games. Sure, we called his name, but we weren't talking about him leading or him doing this.
No, we weren't. You're right.
He just kept creeping up the board with steady bowling, steady bowling, steady bowling. In the games that we watched him, we covered basically 3 or 4 pairs right in front of our announce booth. We never saw him miss a spare, and I was really, really impressed with his spare-making technique. And I don't wish a whole lot of spares on him in his match play here, though. But watch how he shoots spares. He actually, for spares on the right side, and I'm talking 3-pin, 3, 6-10, 6-10, 10-pin, he throws what I call a little cutter. And so instead of coming around the ball like this, he comes inside of the ball and lets it fade back a little bit with speed. And that's an old-timer's move. The guys in the 40s, the 50s, the Days, the Bomars, they all threw that kind of shot for spares on the right-hand side when it was necessary. So I'm quite impressed with the guy's game.
2 years ago, Hammer changed the bowling world by adding carbon fiber, one of the toughest materials on the planet, to our outer cores. Tougher balls mean a tougher warranty. So we were able to offer an industry-leading 3-year warranty on our products. Well, we're back at it again. Beginning with the Bad Intentions Hybrid, we have started adding carbon fiber to the cover stocks of our HP balls. The carbon fiber additives interlock with each other, creating a stronger bond between the cover stock and the outer core. It works much like rebar in concrete, greatly increasing the overall strength and durability. Normally, balls are drop tested at a height of 4 foot, but for the balls with the Tough Tech cover system, like the new Scandal, this isn't good enough. 11 foot or higher seems more like it. As you can see, a little scuffing even after multiple drops, but nothing would damage the ball beyond use. That's tough. But there's more. SEM photography reveals that carbon fiber additives act like studs on a snow tire, greatly increasing traction and improving overall performance when and where you need it. You're probably thinking, sounds like particle technology. Nope. With particle balls, when you sand them, the particles were oftentimes removed from the surface of the ball, and every time you sand the Tough Tech cover technology products, new strands of carbon fiber are revealed, thus ensuring you will always maintain top performance over the lifetime of the ball. Get tough, get Hammer.
We got Rob Gotchall. He's got 2 wins under his belt. He's playing with house money. He's zeroed in. He's relaxed. He's got a tough opponent, but let's see what happens.
Match
First
number
shot.
3. And he kicks the 10. Match 3 of the 2016 Logo Infusion InsideBowling.com, brought to you by Ebonite International, is underway. And our first look at Matt Gasn. He's been on television before at Robert Morris. He was number 4, and you're thinking, well, this guy's a pretty good bowler. He wasn't their anchor? No, Marshall Kent was their anchor. Robert Morris had a really good team. They've had 4 guys go on to bowl professionally. Marshall's had great success at a young age, and Matt Gasn, who won the 11thframe.com Open in 2014, the GIBA 11thframe.com. And he has been here 3 years, and every year has been better. And that's a struggle start, though, as he leaves behind a 2-10. Makeable, but it's going to be a stretch.
Boy, he started way inside. That was almost the line we saw the players bowling towards the end of the qualifying about 3 hours ago when the lanes were worn out. I don't think he can have any success from that deep inside, but it's early, and looks like he's going to start with an open. He should go for it. Got nothing to lose.
He does, and he does not get it. So
Guys,
an open frame right off the bat. Mike.
Down here from the lanes, just wanted to let you know a couple of little tidbits. One thing is George Gohagen III could have elected to take 2 practice balls on each lane. He elected not to. Also, Matt Gasn starting with the Columbia 300 Raw Urge on the right lane, and we will see if he uses a different ball here on the left lane.
And Mike Flanagan, that's the voice of Mike Flanagan, our tournament sponsor and the head of InsideBowling.com. You can see he's also playing a much deeper or farther inside line, Mike. We can see it from here.
Beauty. And there's that noise that you mentioned, Bo, that you picked up earlier. That noise, it's like a great hitter that hits it a little bit differently than anybody else.
Has a different sound. He has a good leverage position. He's a big, strong guy. Sometimes you can't see it on TV, but he's a football player type with a real nice relaxed arm swing and a good wrist snap. All these guys that have that heavy ball, Dave, it's almost imperceptible how quick their wrist comes through the ball, and that's where Matt gets that heavy roll.
Let's see about Gotchall here on the right-hand lane. Yes, sir. Well, that's 10 straight back for Rob Gotchall. I'm Dave Lamont, and yeah, that's Bo Burton here, folks. I'm sitting here calling a tournament. with Nelson Burton Jr., who's back in St. Louis for this event. And I know Mike and everybody here is delighted that you're here, as am I. When I heard about that, I told Mike, I'm not even sure you have to pay me. Then I came to my senses and said, no, you're going to pay me anyway. But thank you for giving me this once-in-a-lifetime, maybe more, opportunity. But also want to thank Matt Turek for his work, Dennis Harkin for all his hard work, and Mike and all of the InsideBowling.com people who provided us with scores and water and everything that we needed. You know, Dennis being very helpful on the air, Matt as a laneside reporter helping us out, plus taking care of all the technical stuff. Really, Bo and I have the easiest jobs by far. We just come in and talk, and they put all this together. I could never put a broadcast like on. I would never get us on the air. Oh, wait a minute. No, Dave Wodka is sitting there somewhere going, yeah, about time, buddy, because Dave had all of those ring intents happen to him in the match where Rob defeated him.
Interesting, all the hours we've covered all the bowlers here, we've saw a number of 10 pins, but not the plethora, I guess, if you want to say, of 10 pins we've seen so far in the match on apparent good hits. There's really nothing much you can do when the 6 pin jumps right over the top of the 10, except pick up the ball and make the 10 pin. So
hang on, you got it. Well, as Howard Cosell would say, a veritable plethora.
A veritable plethora. I know the plethora, the veritable. I worked with Howard a few times, and I couldn't understand anything he was saying. So I'm a little bit fluent in Spanish. I'd start speaking Spanish, and that evened the table up a little bit with Howard. And he always said, Burton, you're a little crazy, and I've heard that before. So here we go. This is a kind of a key shot early in the match for Matt. He slid by and left the 210 the first frame. Could have been a little nerves. Let's see what happens. This lane hooks a little more. He got a big hand in that one. And bang.
Oof. Just raw power there.
I just got a text message, Bo. Kathy Wodka, Dave's mother, watching tonight, says thank you to Bo for all the nice thing he said about Dave. She's a proud mama.
Well, she should be. I've known her son on the road where nobody sees him, and he's just a gentleman on and off the lanes. And there's a book my mom once gave me, just to answer that real quickly without getting too esoteric, but it's Who You Are When Nobody's Looking. And that's a great book if anybody wants to ever read it. It's a heart-searching book, and Dave Wodka is a guy that could come right out of that book. So, Mrs. Wodka, be very proud of your son. Now, match is back to just 10 pins behind for Matt. If he strikes here in the 4th, it'll be all even.
Oh, there's a solid 9. Yuck.
Dave, this is the worst pin carry I think I've ever seen in maybe the 500 or 600 matches I've called in the championship round. I mean, these guys are not struggling to hit the pocket. They're not throwing too hard. They're not hooking the ball too much. And these pins are just jumping over the top of each other. And once again, I maintain that pro bowlers need a little heavier pins, and it's proven right here.
Punishes that 9 pin for sticking around.
That's that spear-making technique we saw, and I bragged about. He plays that little cutter where he rotates clockwise around the ball and lets it fall back into the spear. Great technique. He was, in my opinion, the best spear shooter of the whole field we saw here today, and that's how he got there into the number 2 position.
And we're talking about 32 we saw today, but over 250 entries here. One of the best fields we've ever had here for the InsideBowling.com Open, the Logo Infusion InsideBowling.com Open, brought to you by Ebonite International. And Rob rooted his way out of that trouble. He was body language and trying to conduct some of those pins down, and is left with just the 3.
Had the 310 standing, got that ball down quickly, as we say, instead of lifting and lofting it out over the lane, which delays the hook on any bowling ball when you lift it out and over the lane. He got it down early, it started biting early, and was very fortunate to get away with an easy spare.
Doubt you're going to see any big mistakes from either of these players. They haven't made that many big ones. That's why they're where they are now, fighting for a $10,000 first prize. They have one more match to go following this. George Gohagen III was dominant over the last 24 hours in this house, the only left-hander in the finals. And will he be able to continue that domination for one more game? But right now we've got to find out who his opponent is going to be.
The semifinal, the tournament has been running for 3 days. We're down to the last 3 players.
Also, to add to that, guys, we had 2 left-handers make the top 12, 2 out of the 12.
Kyle Anderson was the other. Very entertaining bowler to watch. Nice ball by Rob. So 2 strikes on that lane for him. Now Matt. Matt's match play record 9-3. His high game was 269. He averaged 223.
Had very few poor games. Has a good carrying ball. Doesn't miss many spares. And right now, as he stands up on the right-hand lane, the 5th frame, he trails by 10 pins.
No, 10 pins is going to stand there.
Watch this spare-making technique. One of the things that is a craw in my throat in some of even the top pros today is their spare-making ability. I know that bowling is much a strike game today, as the scores are 10% higher than they were in my era, but you still got to make your spares, especially in match play competition. Watch this shot. Despite sticking, he double hit the pin. That means he hit it so perfectly center that he drove it straight back and hit it again with the ball as it left the lane. The old timers used to like that, where you can double kick it like that. That's perfectly accurate. And it's good that he grabbed his balance. A big, strong guy like that, it could easily go over the line. But he's a little bit of a Fred Astaire with a terrifically coordinated body. Somewhat like a guy that used to help me when I first started bowling, the great Billy Whaley. Billy was 6'5", probably weighed 240 pounds, but he was just a prince on his feet. So.
And your predecessor in the booth, correct?
Yes, sir. He was around for a long time.
Well, that's a nice comeback from Gasn. And we've had a couple of players, especially early on, that did have issues with the approach. Several in different parts of the house, but that seemed to be rectified most of the time. I saw one player foul, but that's been a mental error by that player. But Gasn coming right back very smoothly with that strike. You know, a lot of big guys can move, Bo. I've noticed, you look at some, use football for an example, a lot of some of the most graceful guys are guys that are the 300-pounders who can really move well on their feet. Oh, thought he was going to get that.
Well, the head pin came across. He left the 10-pin. You talk about big guys, and I can tell you a big guy that everybody knows that bowled actually here in the 1994 tournament when he was with the St. Louis Rams is Jerome Bettis.
Oh, yes.
The Hall of Fame running back. And Jerome averaged right at 200. And let's face it, he's a big guy. He weighs about 260, very powerful. And yet he was well coordinated and well balanced in bowling. And so obviously that's talent.
Gotchall takes care of the 10-pin. Yeah, again, a good example of a big guy who could move. And there's a lot of them like that. It's Craig Ironhead Hayward was somebody cut from the same physical mold as Bettis, and he was surprisingly light on his feet. He wasn't light when he whacked India. Obviously, neither was Bettis, who was no fun to stop. You don't get a nickname like the Bus for being delicate. But, yeah, I think that's an excellent point. There are a lot of very big athletes who are surprisingly agile.
In sports, even for parents at home that are coaching any different sport, my finding, I've had 4 children that played sports, and I played a lot of different sports. Balance is one of the key principles of any sport. You can violate some fundamentals, but you can't violate principles, and balance is one of them.
Oh, another ringer, boy. It's now the whatever happened to Dave Wodka has been transferred over to Rob Gotchall. Good-looking shots and just not getting a break. That 10-pin even was contacted, I thought.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I thought I saw it move just a little bit, just not enough.
Well, the center of gravity of these pins is probably a little higher than old wood pins years ago. Wood pins used to go off the lanes very low, and you left very few solid 10s. You left a lot of weak 10s because they didn't jump. But today you get a lot of 6 pins that jump straight up in the air. And the guys, for what it's worth, all you folks at home, and even for myself, one of the troubles you can get in is you start missing the 10-pin. And none of these guys have missed it, Dave. And a good practice vehicle for people at home and you're practicing is just shoot the 10-pin first and throw for the strike rack afterwards. So, you shoot the 10-pin. Matt taking a re-rack, he's allowed 2 per game, and we found over the years, I remember even doing the ABC TV telecast, and I think we used that same pair of lanes, that there was an occasional issue with somehow the machine would set down, and it's usually the 3-pin, the one just right of the head pin, that's off spot, and you don't want it in close to the head pin. It's not too bad if it's spread out, but you don't want it in close to the head pin.
Let's check in here. Let's wait for Matt to get this shot off, and then we're going to talk to Mike, who's got George Gohagen III standing by, our tournament leader. Let's watch Matt's shot first.
Strike here, and the match is all even.
And it's not all even. Let's get down to Mike with George.
Hey guys, thanks a lot. Here with George Gohagen III. He finished runner-up in the first tournament that we had, and then last year he was leading and had a really disastrous morning, but now you're back. You're the #1 seed. I bet you're excited. And what's it going to take to win this thing?
It's just going to take making some good shots, relaxing, and having some fun. That's it.
All right, George. Well, good luck to you, man.
Thank you.
Well, good luck on the relaxing part. I can imagine him having fun, and that's going to be interesting. So he just wants to get up there and try to have a good time with it. Let's hope he can. Make for an entertaining final if he does. Meantime, Gasn again, I think he double hit that 10-pin also.
The best spare shooter has proven it, but he doesn't need spares any longer. He's in arrears by 10 pins as they both enter the 8th frame, both working on a spare. So somebody has to crack here, and Gasn, Dave, we know the right-hand lane hooks more, and it looks like Matt had been protective on it by getting too far left. And he's got this right-hand lane, the left-hand lane zeroed in. So he
didn't like his footwork there, and I understand why. Not happy. And looked at his thumb also.
Well, that's what threw him off. When you lose the ball at the bottom of your swing, your timing's not the same because part of your balance is the weight of the ball coming through the lift or hit area. And when it comes off a little bit early, your body's not ready for it and it pulls you off balance. People don't realize the ball itself, when you're in perfect time, helps to balance you perfectly. So once again, a relatively easy spare, but he's going to be 11 pins behind.
Well, you could put a dot or a star on those pins, and I bet he could hit it with his bowling ball, as accurate as he is on those single pins.
And that's a style that favors lower scoring bowling conditions. When it's obviously Matt throws a very powerful strike ball, but the ability to make spares really favors a guy in a low scoring environment. This wasn't low scoring. 210 was a number which you made money with. But you get it down to around 200, and that's more Matt's wheelhouse. Now we see Rob step up here in the 8th frame. He has an 11-pin lead working on a spare.
Beautiful. 10 straight back for Rob. Gorgeous, gorgeous shot.
Well, Rob has the luxury of not only winning 2 matches, but he's following the oil pattern. As you can see very well from our monitor here in the announce booth, he was crossing somewhere around the 2nd arrow, maybe a board inside of it, in the early going in his first 2 matches. And now he's drifted farther left, farther left. And if you want to look at what board he's hitting, if you look at the 3rd arrow, there's 2 dark boards just to the right of the 3rd arrow. Those are the 14th and 13th boards, and that's where he has moved in the last 3 or 4 frames to follow the wear of the oil. It's very important for league bowlers. I hear it all the time. I bowled good the first 2 games and shot 160. Well, you didn't follow the lane pattern, so let's watch for it. Watch for that ball just to be just a little right of the 3rd arrow.
Break it up. He does. So what does Matt have to do here?
Matt is now trailing by 11 pins, so he's got to get, 21 pins, and he's got to get going. He can shoot a 216 game. Rob Gotchall is going at a 217 pace. So by pace, I mean spare strike, spare strike. A good potential, if Matt can strike out, of having a tie game, which would initiate a 2-frame roll-off. So key frame here for Matt Gasn, 9th frame.
That one he liked all the way.
Dave, this is a must-strike situation. This is a 10th frame, potential 216. He can force Rob Gotchall to strike on his first ball to win the game, but he must strike on this ball or he has no chance. He has not had a double since the second and third frames, but he's been around the pocket every shot but one. Big shot. This is where you got to throw, as the old-timers call it, your Sunday ball, because if this doesn't work, you're in your car going home.
Got to hurry. Oh, it pushed beautifully down the lane. There's one.
That shot there will force Rob Gotchall to spare in the 10th. This is the key one right here. This tightens the match up. This will tighten Gotchall up a little bit. It'll get in his mind not to know that the game's locked up. So we're in the semifinal match. The winner of this one will bowl for the title. Matt Gasn would help his cause to get one more strike here in the 10th.
Beautifully done. Boy, you love the way he is responding when he most has to.
Well, you're not going to make it at the professional level, probably in any sport, but I know in bowling, if you can't perform in the 10th frame, and I used to use a little saying, it separates the pretenders from the real thing, and Matt is proving that he is the real thing. Right now, if he strikes, he will force Rob Gotchall to get the first strike to win. If he strikes and Gotchall gets 9 spare strike, we would have our first tie match of the day. But this is a key shot. He's coming this far. Last shot of the game, 216 potential. A little nervous there.
I think the Pins had every reason to be nervous.
Well, that's that big heavy ball you talked about. He got tapped a few times during the match, but finishes with 216. Now here's the situation for Rob Gotchall. It's the first time he's been pushed where he must strike all day long. He must strike on this ball to guarantee a win match. If he gets 9 spare strike, it's a tie. If he gets 8 on the first ball, he loses. There is no other shot.
Wow.
So we're down to 8 loses, 9 ties, strike wins.
The loser of this match is third. The winner goes to the championship. Strike. A money shot for Rob Gotchall.
Boy, you called that, Dave. That was his best shot of the game. He went through it, and you watch the guy's hand action and see if his arm slows down. He accelerated through the shot. You can see the look on his face. You can see it on Matt's. Obviously, Matt had some taps, but to give Rob Gotchall credit, both players have to be proud of their performance. Neither one of them, and I like to say this, and it's not true in all matches, neither one of them lost, just that Matt was beaten. And so he's got to be proud of his performance here this week. He's going to walk away with a third-place check. Rob Gotchall is going to be in the championship match.
And he's going to finish it in style.
I'm going to tell you guys, figuring out this right lane is key. I have not seen a player in the finals of the InsideBowling.com Open here at Tropicana Lanes on this 47 and 48 championship pair. I've never seen a player this late in the step ladder figure out the right lane. It's going to be a key thing to watch going into the championship match.
Well, good point, Matt.
I would say, Mike, one thing. If he punches out here, would you say he's figured it out?
I say he is. He's actually inside the third arrow, and he started about the 10th or 11th board, which is the second arrow area.
Switching balls here too, guys.
So this is a test shot to see if he's got room to hook it inside. So by far, Mike Flanagan, to answer your question, he actually likes the right-hand lane better because his ball finishes better and there's fewer taps. So going into the championship match, we'll go back to the odds, partner. The odds of the tournament leader is a little less than 50%, but let's call it 50%. So if you're an odds maker, you can bet either way in this final match. And to throw a little extra into it, it's a lefty against a righty. Now, the thing I like, if I was going to pick, and I have no favorites, I just like to see the best player win, is that you got Rob Gotchall. He's followed the oil. He's an experienced player. He's hitting the pocket. He's relaxed. You got a young man coming out who hasn't thrown any balls. Obviously, he dominated the field, out-averaged him by about 15 pins, but that means nothing now. And if you're Dick Weber, and he did it to me a bunch of times, what Rob Gotchall needs to do to get on to George's ahead is start right out the 1, 2, 3 strikes. Go almost go to the whip early to get him out of his game plan. If you go along, spare, strike, and just lollygag around and let George get his feet wet out there, I think George is going to run off the table with him.
And we saw George a couple of times struggle a little bit with a slow start and then figure something out. And he would rip off 7 consecutive strikes, 8 consecutive strikes. So it's, that's what he is more than capable of. This is the 2016 Logo Infusion InsideBowling.com Open. With Nelson Burton Jr., I'm Dave Lamont, and we thank you very much for joining us on InsideBowling.com. This is an archived event, so you can always go back and watch it, along with all the stuff that's been done on InsideBowling.com. So if you've got a favorite event, maybe something you bowled in yourself and want to go back and watch, you are able to do that. Let's talk for a second about George. He has always been in this event, save for 1 year with injury. And he said, and I thought Mike was very fair to bring it up to him, he was leading this event for a while, and then it just went away from him. So I wonder how much that is going to be playing on his mind as he warms up for this match.
I don't think he'll think too much of that, Dave, but what he has to think about is he's never been in this position before. I listened to you interview all 5 players before we had the match play, and you took a lot of notes. I took a few, and one of the key ones, that George has never bowled a game of this magnitude.
Right.
And I don't care who you are, whether you're George or you're Bo Burton or Dick Weber or Dave Lamont, the first time you step out there and they say, go, it counts. That ball feels different, the lane looks different, the lights look different, and it's very hard to win your first title unless you're aggressive. The mistakes I made, and that's all I can tell you from my young days, is I got slowing down. I wanted to be real accurate. I didn't want to embarrass myself. All those negative thoughts. George doesn't look like he has that personality. He goes out there and, is like you said, he made the adjustments, and his carry percentage, in other words, strike percentage when he hit the pocket, was far superior than anybody here. His ball is entering the pocket at about a 4-degree angle of attack, and this is kind of a information that a lot of top pros know, but a 4-degree angle attack is probably your best margin of error and your best carrying angle. And now we have Rob Gotchall, who at many times was down to a 1 or 2 degree angle of attack down the center of the lane. But he's not in that situation now. He's got about a 3-degree angle of attack. 3 against 4, it doesn't make that much difference. They both can overpower the pins. It's a matter of George just going out and doing what he has done. It sounds easy from the announce booth, but we all know, and you've covered a lot of sports, when you come down to one game for all the wheat, and you've never been there before, sometimes your mind isn't working. Let's see how George attacks it. I look for an exciting match. You got the left against the right. Both players should be zeroed in. We could actually have a high-scoring match if they carry.
I think there's no question about that. And George does have a PBA regional title. He won the All Regions in Las Vegas 4 years ago. He does have some experience. He's won the Rodman Singles Championship. He did have an 899 series, and you can find a YouTube clip for the last shots of that. He has thrown, I can't believe this, and even without the glasses, 138 300s, including one in this event today, and 129 800 series. So high scores are his MO. That is what he is known for. So we will see against Rob Gotchall, who has gone from 5th, now trying to run 4 straight matches, and he's been pretty steady all the way around, and he came through with some big shots against Matt Gasn, who I think bowled splendidly, just didn't get a couple of breaks. And Rob also didn't get a couple of breaks, but managed to get big strikes when he had to, and that's why he's in this championship match.
Bowler ID is a great tool for gathering the key statistics every bowler needs to know, and could one day change the way pro shops interact with their customers. Here at Columbia 300, we've been using an advanced version of this device to study ball motion. The data collected from this device, starting at the moment the approach begins and ending when the ball exits the deck into the pit, has led to a different way of thinking in terms of design. The first of which is hypershock technology. Simply put, pins impacted by the ball with hypershock technology experience a greater transfer of energy at impact, as well as a smoother, slower rate of energy decay than those hit by the industry standard bowling ball. An additional effect is greater continuation exhibited by the ball with less deflection as a whole. For this video, we have poured two identical Columbia 300 Swerve FX bowling balls, with one exception. The first contains the hypershock additive, evidenced by the green outer core material, and the second contains the standard filler. Both balls were fitted with bowler ID, so let's take a look at how they perform. Notice the amount of deflection the ball without the hypershock technology has, leaving a flat 7-pin. Now notice the amount of continuation and drive that the ball with the hypershock technology has as it goes through the pins. Bowler ID data was used to verify that each shot using each of the balls was thrown the same way. Shot after shot, the results were the same. Data-driven, the hypershock infused bowling balls tend to continue more and deliver more energy where it matters, at the pins and through the pins. Throw the new Swerve FX with hypershock technology today and feel the effects.
Bo and Dave, I just wanted to take a minute and just let you guys know just how great you guys are doing up in the booth. We've been getting a lot of positive comments in the chat, and just wanted to thank you both for being here before we head into our championship match. It really means a lot, and you guys have been a real joy to listen to from down on the lanes.
Well, thank you, Mike. Thanks for the invitation. It means a lot to me, too, the way the year is working out for me. This might be my only bowling event for 2016, and so I'm delighted to be here. And you are the cherry on the sundae, Bo, and thank you for being here as well.
Dave, you're excellent. I've sat next to many, many announcers. You're among the top ones I've ever stayed with, and be a pleasure to work with you again. Just a sidebar note here. George finishing the highest, he gets to pick the starting lane, so that means he has the confidence that he can stand up in the 10th frame because he'll finish last and perform in the 10th. Secondly, he's one of the only players I saw, Dave, and you picked it up halfway through the day yesterday, that had a coach following him around, working with his bowling balls, critiquing this, saying try this and try. And for my many years on tour, especially in the 80s and 90s, players weren't allowed coaches, and the simple reason was that the players who weren't on staff, such as whatever staff you're on, Ebonite or whatnot, Hammer staff, they felt that they had too much an advantage over a rookie. The jury's out on both of them, but George has a coach, but his coach has never bowled that championship game either.
And he crosses over on the first ball of the championship match and leaves the 5-pin. This is the championship match of the 2016 Logo Infusion InsideBowling.com Open, brought to you by Ebonite International, makers of Columbia 300 Ebonite Hammer and Track bowling balls, also by the Sign Garage and by Kegel. And Kegel, of course, is the official lane maintenance supplier of InsideBowling.com for 6 years running.
All right, George, slow down. You got too quick on that one and threw it down there, and that was the wildest shot we saw him throw all day. Got away with it with a spare. Trust me, I've been there, and you need a break or two when you haven't been there before. He got an easy spare. Second part of the easy spare, he could try a strike ball again when you shoot for the 5-pin. Now, I'll go back to the old Dick Weber syndrome. Rob Gotchall knows he has the guys that's nervous. Rob's not nervous. He's playing with house money. He's already come from 5th. He's guaranteed 2nd. He needs to win this tournament to put the pressure on George right now. You go right now. This is the last game. There is no more. See if you can start with a double or turkey and have George playing catch-up.
$10,000 to the winner, $5,000 for second place. Rob Gotchall began in 5th. And yes, on the messenger.
Head pin went to the sideboard and actually hit the 5-pin, which was just dancing around in the middle, and the 5 took out the 10. Quite an unusual shot, but Dave, as you and I have both seen, the pin action here is a lot of bouncing pins around, and sometimes it works for your benefit.
And he is back to the ball that has brought him from 5 to 1,
right,
but possibly to 1.
He did some test shots, as you alluded to, Dave, but he went back to the one that I believe you stick with. It's got him that far. He knows how it reacts. And this is a big shot for both players. If he gets a strike here, he really puts a squeeze on George early. If he doesn't, George has got a little of the burden off his back because he could just throw one strike and be tied in the match. Here we go.
Oh, that's a little killer instinct there.
Yeah. Well, he's just murdered this left-hand lane, as Mike Flanagan said. The InsideBull.com championship round has always been the guy who could hit lane 48 or conquer it. And let's face it, the only guy who's really done it here, Dave, has been our guy Rob Gotchall. He's just.
So now let's talk for just a second here about Gohagen. Is he basically bowling on fresh oil?
He's bowling on fresh, but the key for him is that he's got a good shot. He knows that he has to just keep his eyes on the target. Usually it's your eyes that offend you when you're really nervous, and then follow through towards that target and just don't look up. Just don't even look up. That was a better shot right there.
That's more like it. Yeah, that's what we saw all day today, repeatedly with George. His high game here was 279. Actually, I thought he had a 300. I mean, earlier he did in squad, but in the match play, his high was 279.
But he dominated the field. What was his total average? It was over 230.
231.
And the next closest guy was, I think, 222, who was Dave Wodka. So once again, George has got through the first 2 frames, a little nervous. He threw a very cerebral shot there in the second. Now he just has to keep his eyes on his target and make sure you accelerate through it. I don't mind him missing to the left. Just don't miss to the right and pull it.
Not sure the pins can survive much more of that.
That was a super shot. That's what we had seen here for 2 solid days. Good shot for him. He's in good shot, and he's down there playing with his cell phone. What's he doing? Looking at a replay?
That didn't happen in the Nelson Burton, Dick Weber days. You guys didn't have anybody to text, or perhaps he's playing the. Doesn't the PBA have an app where you can play a game on your phone?
I don't even know if there's a rule if you can watch yourself do a replay.
I don't know if he can do that.
That's a new gig for me, but
or he might just have a game of Words with Friends going, and he doesn't want to be rude and keep him waiting.
He might have missed church today, and he's making up for
we
it.
We have no problem with anyone ever trying to look at themselves on the phone watching the broadcast. We need as many viewers as we can get.
Attaboy.
Rob Gotchall spooked by something and stepped away from the approach on the right-hand lane and starts the whole process over again.
That was Mike Flanagan adding that to him as we watch our tournament leader looking, I presume, at his own shot. So.
Yeah, if a George from Dayton shows up in the chat, we'll know it's him. If he has any questions for Bo, I don't know if it would be ethical for Bo to answer at this point.
Okay, match tied, 10-pin lead if he can strike right here for Rob Gotchall.
Hey, there's the paralyzer again.
You're exactly right. The 5-pin one to go left, the head pin came across and kept it in there. I've probably seen that once in 30 years, and I've seen it twice in an hour here.
And to the same guy.
Same guy on the same lane. So at this point, I would probably shoot for it.
Okay.
And the way to shoot for it is move about 8 boards right with your feet and use your same strike target, which he's not doing. And so cut down his odds of doing it. And a lot of spare angles, good pullers are not aware of them as much as the players that used to shoot a lot of spares when the scoring environment was lower. So maybe he just wanted to go for one. I can't determine that. So if I was going to shoot it, I would have moved about 8 boards right with my feet, targeted the ball over the same strike target, and that brings it to the left side of the head pin to make the washout or the 5-10. All right, 56 through the third. Right now, George Gohagen, who is our tournament leader, has a 24-pin lead.
And a ringing 10. I don't know. Messenger turns away at the last second. Didn't think it was going to get there anyway. So Rob with a tiny bit of adversity following that 5-10.
Well, I think both of them are adversity, and that's a very calm way of saying it, Dave. These guys have a better temperament than Bo Burton, that's for sure, because you leave a 5-10 like that and then a ring and 10. I got to move that ball return rack a little bit, even if Mike Flanagan hits me with a fine. All right, another good spare. We haven't seen a 10-pin missed at all, so.
I don't think we've had any single pins missed since we've been on the air.
No.
Rob Gotchall opened up by defeating the outstanding 18-year-old Kamron Doyle. And then Rob defeated his Ebonite mate, office mate, Dave Wodka. And then in the last match, bowled brilliantly and took out Matt Gasn. And now the tournament leader, the top seed, dominant over the last 24 hours, knew, but he owned this house more than, I called him earlier, King George III.
Leading by 14, has 2 working, can extend that lead to 24, 4th frame.
Yeah, that is the action that he was getting all day long.
Well, that's that angle of attack, and we watched the bowling all night. There is a group of his fans. He had quite a number of Gohagen shirts on. I think it was Gohagen.com even, so he may have his own website. But
that is his mother and his father, and George says respect my grind is his claim to fame.
Good stuff. Right now leads by 24, has 3 bagger working. 5th frame can extend to 34 in our championship match of the InsideBowling.com tournament.
He wanted that to hook, and you can see it did not. It washed out instead.
Now, there's 2 schools of thought of shooting a washout of this type with a pin next to the corner pin, whether it's a 4-pin for a lefty, it's a 6-pin for a right-handy. The percentage is to go cross lane, go to the Brooklyn side to hit the 1-3. A lot of players try to go like between the 1-4, and that's the lower percentage way to making it. I've shot it 1,000,000 times and kept track on tour. Let's see how he goes for it. He went for the lower percentage, and he's lucky to even get an 8 count. So it could come down to haunt him. These are little things you learn in knowing percentages, too. And I don't know how much young players are taught spare percentages, split percentages. And then again, you, Dave, as you well know, you sometimes go for it because the match is determined by it.
Yeah, sometimes you're left with a choice of playing for a count or just having to go after it.
But he shot the wrong angle. I know you can make it that way, but he shot the wrong angle.
So Rob Gotchall gets a little bit of a break. He's had an open of his own, and then followed that up with a spare in the 4th.
He trails by 5 pins. He could have been in real trouble if our tournament leader had struck in the 5th. But now we have a match halfway through the championship and title game.
And that right lane is the one that everybody was worried about who's going to figure it out. He has. Now, he did have that 5-10 on that lane before, but that's his second strike on that lane, correct. That was a good-looking ball and didn't work. So the right lane, it's the lane that you and Mike have identified as the trouble lane, has been okay with Rob, and he's still here.
All right, match halfway through. The situation is this. Rob Gotchall is trailing by 5. He can take the lead with a strike here in the 6th. Taking a little extra time. He knows this is a key shot. He was sitting on the bench just 2 minutes ago, almost down 30 pins, and now he has a chance to take the lead. He's got to make this one count.
He did. Beautifully done. That's how Rob has handled this whole final 5 here, and there is the trophy. Logo Infusion InsideBowling.com Championship Trophy.
And something for Rob Gotchall. That one was so deep that he actually knocked all 10 pins in the pit. Sometime we used to play a game years ago that you didn't count a strike unless all the pins were gone. None in the gutter, none of them out.
That's strict.
So that is strict, and that's a very disciplined way to have fun practicing against one of your pals. All right, let's see how our tournament leader responds. That looked like a pretty good shot there.
It was. Kick the 7 aside. Kick saving a beauty on the 7.
Back and forth as we come down to the end of the game. Our tournament leader, George, can retake the lead with a strike here. Seems pretty relaxed now, Dave. You know, the first 4 or 5 frames bouncing around Nancy didn't show much emotion, but now he looks nice and relaxed. He's thinking about what he wants to do, and the tournament's going to come down to who can perform here in the last 4 frames.
Well, I thought his first shot was the most nervous shot I'd seen all day from any of the participants that we've had in this championship final, and he's survived that.
Good hand position. He's tucked slightly under the equator of the ball and lifts straight on through it. He's got a set.
He'll take it. Could have been a lot worse.
Definitely pressure makes a difference, and he's kept it in play. His arm swing looks good, his approach looks good, and there's no way in the world that you can teach somebody to be nice and relaxed when you're bowling for a big tournament title and championship. You just got to maintain your pressure, your form, and keep the pressure on the other player. And that's that 20-mile-an-hour fastball he has. I think the St. Louis Cardinals could use him in relief here.
I'd like to see them try to hit his fastball. That'd be interesting. Break a few. He definitely would be breaking bats.
Now for Gotchall, who has come this far, he's come through 3.5 games. He's in a position to really squeeze our tournament leader. So he has a lead of 5 pins, can extend to 15, and 15-pin lead late in the match with a strike working would be a lot of pressure on George.
And Rob has been deliberate, not playing too fast.
Well, he's showing experience. He's been there. He's bowled all over the world. He's bowled for championship titles before.
He's on Team USA right now, as a matter of fact. Perfect. And again, he'd take that right lane home with him in his pocket if he wants. Rob won an Eagle of the 2015 team event at USBC Nationals and won the 2011 Grand Boot Hill as well. And he averaged 218.3 to get here. His high qualifying game, 279. And the step ladders, not in the step ladder, but in the top 12.
Right now, Rob's going at a 226 pace. His opponent, our tournament leader, George, is going at a 201 pace. So a strike here by Rob Gotchall could put George a little bit on the ropes. George might need a little help from Rob to win this tournament.
Oh, the pins may be the one saving grace. That was as good a looking ball as any that were strikes. And Gohagen gets a huge break while Gotchall gets a terrible one.
You're right about that. That was, he could tell, and that was one of his best shots. He's getting better and better as he goes along. And once again, that's part of today's game, the solid 8s, the solid 9s. They happened a little bit in my day, but the balls weren't as powerful and the pins didn't jump like they do. So you got to learn to accept them. That's all. Got to make the spares.
Hasn't been a problem. He certainly isn't giving things away, Rob. He's not giving out any gifts.
14-pin lead as our tournament leader steps up in the 8th frame. Spare working. Got to throw some strikes. He's not going to get to the championship by just getting some spares. So, as I like to say in the horse race, it's time to go to the whip.
No, sir. Baby split.
Much easier for a left-handed player as he's hooking into the 310. Look at it. He's even telling himself, slow down, slow down, slow down. He knows that its footwork gets a little quick and you don't catch the ball on the upstroke. We've talked about that all day long. All you bowlers at home, keep the feet slow, catch the ball on the upstroke. A little loft doesn't hurt a bowling ball. All right, he needs to make this split, that's for sure.
No, and he got it. I hesitated. I thought for a second he was going to chop that 3.
I did too.
But the result says otherwise, so he keeps his head above water.
Well, that's the left-handers hooking the ball into the pocket is Rob, who's trying to run the table here today, coming from the 5th position, looks up at the scoreboard. He knows what's happening. Right now he's leading by 16 pins. Both players have completed 8 frames. The key 9th frame, the foundation frame coming up for both players. Very important that George get a strike here. He doesn't want to sit down with anything less than a strike here in the 9th frame because Rob Gotchall can get up and just put him away. There'll be nothing he can do about it.
Well, George taking his time a little bit now, too. Went to the rosin, went to the towel.
Well, showing a little experience. You got to be thinking under pressure. I know you're nervous, but you got to keep that brain working. The championship's between your ears right now.
He stood straight up when he threw it. That's the universal bowler sign of I don't like that shot, and he leaves a single pin.
Doing what most players, whether you're been around for a long time or it's just your Genesis match game, you basically got to keep the feet slow enough. You get your feet fast, you dump it or pull it, and he's lucky to get away with an easy spare. And right now, the best he can bowl is 208. And so with that being said, Rob Gotchall just needs to get a mark in the 9th and 10th frames to go from 5th place to 1st and be the champion of the InsideBowling.com. It's not a guarantee. We've seen a number of opens, so especially on this right-hand lane.
Oh, will he be talking trash in the Ebonite office? Oh, man.
As we see a very interested spectator there in
Randy Schickert, and also next to him, Brandon Allred from Logo Infusion, our 2 big sponsors. And they'll be, you'll see them in a second or a couple of seconds, presenting trophies and money. Just not quite sure whom will be receiving that just yet.
All right, 9th frame. Here's the situation. Rob Gotchall just needs 2 marks, spares of any type, and he's the champion. And open will give our tournament leader, George, a chance to win.
Bam. And this is exactly how he finished out the Gasn match and kind of how he finished out Dave Wodka, too. He is saving his best for last.
And he's doing something that proven champions do. Instead of moving around with just 1 or 2 frames go, just throw it a little bit harder so it doesn't go high. Plus, you're accelerating through the ball, even if you're nervous. For Rob Gotchall right now, he is 1 mark, any kind, spare or strike, away from being the new Inside Bowling champion. Any mark, left frame, 10th frame, and even if he opens, George would need a double. So George shaking his head, but it's not over till it's over. Didn't somebody say that once, didn't he?
St. Louis native.
That's him, Yogi himself. All right, any mark for our new, champion.
Now 4 pin's going to stand in the way for the moment.
Did I see a 9 pin there for just a very short time?
Yeah,
Dave?
just for a flash. Thankfully for Rob's sake, anyhow.
There's actually 11 inches on the lane with a bowling ball to make a single pin, but to Rob Gotchall right now, it looks like about 1 inch. If you take the diameter of a bowling pin, 4.5 inches, and the diameter of a bowling ball, which is approximately 9 1/4, that gives you about 11 inches margin of error. All he has to do is touch it. It'll go down, and there's your champion right there.
Rob Gotchall, 5th place to 1st place.
To be mathematically correct, he needs 4 pins on this ball, and we've seen stranger things happen. I saw Del Ballard throw a double against Pete Weber, I believe it was in 2001 or 1999. It was in Baltimore, hit his ankle on the next ball, and lo and behold, Pete Weber wins, and Del Ballard gives it away. But I don't see that happening here. 4 pins, he's a winner.
He's done it 10 straight back, and Rob Gotchall is your champion of the 2016 Logo Infusion InsideBowling.com Open.
Our tournament leader, I know he's disappointed. He'll finish out here as a potential 208, and the scoring was just about like our tournament host Mike Flanagan predicted, somewhere in that 210 to 230 bracket, and that's about the way all the games were. Sometimes it was some taps or unfortunate breaks that led to that score, but fundamentally, nobody came out there and bowled lost today. That was a very fair lane condition. The lefty had a good chance. The righty had a good chance. Players weren't throwing them 6 off the right, 6 off the left, through the nose, and yet the scoring environment wasn't that 250 shootout. So I'm really happy with what I saw here for the 250 competitors here, and basically it came down to who could perform on TV, and it was Rob Gotchall's day.
Well, George Gohagen III has nothing to be ashamed of. He was a dominant force in this. He ran into a player who just figured out that right lane ahead of everybody else and stuck with his game plan. And, yeah, that's the tough part about having just the one game.
Well, it's experience, too.
Yep, he's sitting around for quite a while in between your last qualifying game and your one opportunity to bowl, and it wasn't quite there for him.
It's going to be a 17-pin differential, and you give Rob Gotchall credit. He just kept it in play. Congratulations to George. I felt that he bowled really well all week. He was one of the crowd favorites. He put on a great show for us. And Dave, we have either one of them, we've been great champions, but it's Rob Gotchall's day.
Yeah, I like it a lot because it's a super strong cover on a symmetrical core. A lot of times when I'm on a fresh pattern or a heavy oil pattern, I find myself having to throw an asymmetrical ball to get it to pick up on the oil. With this strong cover, I'm able to throw it even on heavy oil, and it's going to continue for me through the pins. As the lanes break down, normally I would have to go away from the strong cores because I lose so much energy down lane. With this ball being a symmetrical core, I can just move a little left and she just keeps on hooking. I love it a lot. I like it a lot on the fresh, heavy oil. When guys are having their trouble getting their ball to hook, it seems to pick up in the right spot. So I throw it a lot on the fresh, starts with the tournament, heavy volume, a lot of oil.
Bo had told us before that the 5th seed had about a 9% chance over his history calling bowling to run the table, so you beat the odds on that. How did you do it? Because everyone talked about this right lane, and I think you ought to take that lane home with you.
Yeah, you know, the rack on the right lane's tricky, but we actually broke it down real good. It was the better of the 2 lanes to bowl on. It was just trying to get the ball to shape through the pins the right way on the right lane. But, you know, running the ladder, I just tried to make some good shots, stay in every match, fill my frames, and it got me to where I needed to be.
A couple of times you went to a test throw when you had your matches locked up, and yet you stayed back with the same ball. What was the strategy there?
Well, I went to the other ball just to see if I could create a different angle, just to get, you know, a little sharper angle through the pins, but I just didn't feel like I needed to go to it. I had control of the pocket. I felt like 220 was going to be enough in, you know, most of the matches, so I just stuck with it, but I wanted to know where I needed to move to if I switched balls.
All right, it's going to be a little difficult for everybody else in the Ebonite office now that he can come in and talk a little bit about how great he was. His boss is here, Randy Schickert from Ebonite. Come on in here, Randy. You have a trophy to present to our champion, the Logo Infusion InsideBowling.com trophy, which just so happens to be a beautiful Ebonite bowling ball. And Randy, I know you're proud. Does he get a couple of days off or what?
Absolutely not. You're in the office tomorrow, buddy. You got a lot of work to do. But again, Rob, on behalf, of course, the brands of Ebonite International, Columbia Track, Ebonite and Hammer, very, very proud to present you with the championship trophy here. You bowled outstanding these last couple of days. Again, thanks for making our product look outstanding and very good.
Thank you very much.
All right, so you don't get any days off, but as per usual, he's not giving you any money. Brandon Allred from Logo Infusion is going to do that, and Brandon has the winner's check for $10,000. Come on, I don't want to get in the middle of that, so go right ahead and hand that over. Do you have... Oh, he's hiding the check. We don't have the big novelty check. Flanagan probably has the check somewhere in his pocket. Go shake him down for it. But certainly thanks to Logo Infusion for everything you've done and being one of the sponsors here.
Absolutely. Very happy to be part of it for a 2nd year in a row. Thrilled to be back for another year, I hope, as long as Flanagan will have us back. Rob, congratulations, man. That was awesome bowling. A lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, it really was. And to go through what you did your strategies change much from match to match?
Not really. The four of us right-handers kind of talked, during the break after match play, and, we kind of had to work together to play the outside part of the lane so we didn't create so much traffic in the middle. The scores on the right side were a little better from the middle of the lane, but, George bowled so well all week, and he bowled some big numbers. So really we just, we tried to stay out of each other's way, and then as the matches would go on, we'd just migrate left, and hopefully we had enough to give him a run at the end.
Well, Rob, congratulations on the $10,000, the trophy, and a great win here. The 6th year we've had a different champion at the Logo Infusion InsideBowling.com Open presented by Ebonite. Also thanks to Kegel and thanks to the Sign Garage as well. Let's send it back to Mike and Bo.
Thank you, Dave. It was a great tournament, great working with you. We had a great champions. I'm looking forward to it again. Obviously, Mike Flanagan knows how to put together a tournament. I think we'll even have a stronger field next year. We have a lot of collegiate bowlers bowling off the collegiate championship this week. We had a pro tournament where our defending champion was bowling. Troop was bowling in a pro tournament. We had a senior pro tournament where Pete Weber was gone. So, Mike, I'm thinking that the field can be even stronger. And the stronger the field, the more experience everybody gets, the more exciting it is. We had a nice crowd here all the time. So anybody who's in this Clayton area, when you see the InsideBowling.com coming back around next year, come on and enjoy it. You'll see some of the best bowling in the world. And obviously our telecast showed it, and I hope everybody at home enjoyed it. Dave Lamont, super guy to work with.
Yeah, he was awesome to work with, and that's going to conclude our broadcast here tonight. It's been 2 back-to-back weekends where Matt Turek and myself have been on the road, and then back here in St. Louis, and big crew here, big tournament that we've ran for now 6 years in a row. I can't believe it. It was so good this year, I don't even know if we should have a 7th, but of course we will. But, Bo, again, thanks. Dave Lamont, the entire crew here from InsideBowling.com, Matt Turek for producing such a tough job. Normally there's 12 people in a television truck or more, and we've got Matt Turek doing it here, Brian Burkhardt, the rest of the team here, and everyone here at Tropicana Lanes, Ray Bluth, Tino DeFranco, and the entire staff here. That's going to be it from St. Louis tonight. Thanks again for coming, Bo, and thanks for watching, everybody. We'll have it archived on YouTube here just down the road. Thanks again for watching.